So I'm in the Peace Memorial Park in Hiroshima. The G7 summit would be held in this city in May this year, where Prime Minister Kishida would be the host unless he resigned before that, which is unlikely. So this is the place where people pray for world peace. Hiroshima was, needless to say, where the first ever atomic bomb was dropped. Many lives were lost, and it'll be fitting for world leaders to come to this place and pledge peace, never to use nuclear weapons. It might be actually an idea to invite Mr. Putin as well, which is not likely to happen, to be honest. But the way nuclear weapons are still being used to intimidate people is a shame. It's probably the greatest shame that the human beings are facing at this moment, and it is, it is not really appropriate to use that kind of language, after the devastating effects of nuclear weapons is known. And Mr. Putin, by coming here, might actually be a better person. Of course, this is a wishful thinking, and I know I'm naive, but I think we deserve to be naive when it comes to these things, because realistic politics is something that keeps the nuclear weapons being produced and, used as means of international politics. As a national, as a Japanese, of course I have been always aware of the fact that our country was the first ever country, and hopefully the last, to be attacked with nuclear weapon. And but we also felt that it is part of the reality of international politics. Always in the Cold War between the former Soviet Union and the United States, there was always this possibility that nuclear weapons might be used. Actually, the so-called mutually assured destruction strategy. This is a game theoretic analysis of how you can keep world peace by, keeping the option to use nuclear weapons to retaliate to the opponent, and by mutually, pledging to use nuclear weapons, you can arrive at a state of mutually assured destruction, so that each of the opponents wouldn't attack the other. And this has been the rhetoric of international politics for many years, and any people who doubt the effectiveness of mutually assured destruction might be laughed at as a pacifier, or somebody who is not realistic about politics. But I have my doubts. Mutually assured destruction is not stable. I mean, it's not something that you can sustain for centuries. And the so-called Fermi paradox, I think it's called, the fact that if you look at the interstellar space, there are not so many signs of intelligent life. This is a paradox, and one way to explain it is probably when a civilization reaches a certain level, then it has technologies to make nuclear weapons, and that would lead in a short period of time to the destruction of the whole civilization sooner or later. And that might actually explain the Fermi paradox, and that might be actually the destiny of Earthlings, on this earth, because politicians who believe him the mutually assured destruction scheme might be actually playing with fire, a very dangerous fire. So that is a famous dome, which is a remnant of the devastating effect of the nuclear weapon that was dropped in Hiroshima. So we really need to seek a way out of this status quo, mutual destruction. Otherwise, human civilization as know it is not sustainable. But I admit it is
distance 1 kilometer.
That was my running up going off. So because I was in the middle of a morning run in Hiroshima, but I didn't really feel like running in the Peace Memorial Park for obvious reasons. So anyway, as I was saying, mutually assured destruction is not sustainable, but it is very difficult to think in terms of game theoretic approach to get out of it. And because once a nation has nuclear weapons, it will be really difficult to abandon it. If we are to abandon nuclear weapons, then it must be an instantaneous, simultaneous process. Otherwise, a nation which abandons nuclear weapon would become suspicious and not so sure what the intentions of the other parties would be. So there's a construction going on there. I don't know what it is. It might probably to sodium. But construction takes so much time. It's so much energy, but it takes only moments lapse of attention and moments lapse of conscience, if you like, to destroy it all. Just a push of the button by a dictator or a democratically elected leader. But when it comes to nuclear weapon, it doesn't really make a difference whether the leader is a dictator or supposed to be democratically elected. So we are in this madness. So the mutually assured destruction is actually mutually assured madness in my point of view. And so how can we get out of that? Wow, I sometimes think about it, but it's quite difficult to. It's an impasse, isn't it? It's a stalemate. It's really difficult to think of a way to cleverly going out of this status quo of mutually assured destruction. So here is the atomic bomb dome, and people still believe in this. Politicians ostensibly still believe in, strategists still believe in this mutually assured destruction, madness-induced destruction strategy. Anyway, so I don't know what to say, but at least I think it is very important to keep in mind that mutually assured destruction is not sustainable. It is definitely not sustainable. It is something that we really need to get out of. We should call out the fact that politicians are stupid actually when they say that they believe in mutually assured destruction, nuclear peace, because it is unstable. But how can we get out of that? It's quite difficult because we are clever, but we are not clever enough to, get out of it. We are clever enough to build nuclear weapons, but we are not clever enough to get out of it. So this is the dilemma that we face. We are clever, but we are not clever enough. These are the thoughts that came across me when I came to Hiroshima this time. Really, humiliated and really sad that we have come to this. But we have conscience, we have, humanity with us, so we can probably, hopefully, get out of this madness somehow. And most of the time, actually, we forget that we are in this madness, mutually assured destruction madness. From Hiroshima, Kemoge.